Good morning and welcome to Namaste today, a comforting way to start every day. I'm your host, Sensei Christopher Witecki, psychic astrologer, and on a mission to personal serious joy. This audio blogcast is for Tuesday, January 24th, 2016. Welcome back, my friend, and Namaste. Today will be quiet and relatively uneventful in the outside world, but in your inside world you may feel a personal revolution. You may be in for some shocking news if you haven't heard it already, but by sundown, I'm predicting a breakthrough. So in today's zodiac weather, I'll go over the planets and why that is so. And later in your tea time, I was doing some speculation on Aquarius and the law of attraction, and I realized I have some Aquarian secrets to tell you. But first, let's listen to today's mood and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Tuesday, January 24th, 2017. My global forecast for the Earth is sunny and growing today, although you may feel some severe growing pains. Step 4 rules most of the day, and by sundown, Step 5 will bring clarity. The moon is also in 2 degrees. It starts off in Sagittarius, I believe, and ends the day in Capricorn, which is I decide. So you go from believing to deciding in just one day. Let's take a closer look at the planets. Today will be a relatively sunny day in your outside world today. I predict life will move forward as planned, but I also predict you might have a little shock or a little gloom in your inner life today, because today is about figuring out where you don't belong and pointing your life into the direction of where you do. As we wake up, Step 4 Aquarius rules the day. This is the Grandmaster step for Aquarius, which means fundamental shifts will occur in where you feel you belong on Earth. Now, sometimes this involves a rude awakening, especially if you were involved with something you completely don't belong in. So it's not always a pleasant experience to receive news of where you truly belong. But today, I believe you will understand where you belong, or at least where you don't belong, and the moon in the high degrees of Sagittarius will then speculate on your future. In fact, speculation is a big part of today. The moon will cross the galactic center during the course of the day, so your emotions will be pulled to your big calling, the story you were born to live for. You may not be aware of that story, but Sensei says, I think you'll be pulled in that direction. So observe where you are pulled today. Observe where you are emotionally attracted. It has some relevance. But the moon is also squaring Mars in Pisces today, and this may feel like a bit of an emotional traffic jam between your feelings and your ego. You may feel like you need to do something, but you may not have the strength or pathway to do it. That's the square. The truth is the universe is just holding that horse back in the gate before you go galloping out for you to have full comprehension. So don't worry, everything will move in time. Think of it as being in traffic. As soon as the universe allows, you can move forward and really try to understand where your feelings are coming from. That's a big part of today's lesson, is to understand yourself, not necessarily accomplish anything in the world. Now, speaking of accomplishment, Venus is conjuncting Chiron today, dead conjuncting, and this is happening at step 21, where it starts to get fun, in Pisces. What this means is Venus, you are opening up to, Chiron, your integrity and your true healing. And so whatever the news is, whatever it is that you have to face that may be a shock, the planets say you are now finally opening up to your new healing and your final healing. And this means that you also open up to what happens beyond healing. We don't stay sick forever. There is a story beyond this, quote, dis-ease. And today you'll begin to get a glimpse of what is around the corner spiritually once you understand where you belong and where you are going. Now, also adding to the fear, Old Black Lilith is at step 27, Scorpio. 27 just happens to be the same degree as the galactic center and the same degree as Mars today in Pisces. Wherever Black Lilith lies in the chart, it tells us astrologers this is the area, consciousness, that humankind is working out their fears. So the way I interpret Black Lilith at 27 is people are working out their fears to take the final step. And because this is in Scorpio, this is not just the final step. This is the final step of the final line that you will cross or not cross. So people are facing their fears. Fears around making the wrong decision, fears around taking the wrong action, fears around crossing improper lines, or fears around not being able to cross a line. Now you know how to face a fear. You just look at it directly and come up with your alternatives and your options. As soon as you bring some light or love or some solutions, the fear dissipates. Then finally, the North Node is still pointing in Virgo for a while, and currently it is at 3 degrees Virgo. The way I interpret that is, first of all, the North Node tells us almost from God the posture we should take today to get through the day. And if that's the case, 3 degrees Virgo means open up to alternative realities. Because people don't self-nurture their emotions, they tend to get very cozy with existing realities, even ones that are bad for you or make you feel bad. Just because the bad is so familiar, it's a strange comfort. Well, Spiritual Universe says with the North Node at 3 degrees Virgo, open up today to an alternative reality, something you hadn't prior considered. So it's going to be a sunny day for you, but at the end of the day, you're going to grow, you're going to learn about yourself, and you're going to be on the way to breakthrough by tomorrow morning. So I thought in this Aquarius vibration that I would reveal some secrets I have learned to Aquarius. So steep yourself some tea, and let's have our daily tea time. Hello, dear friend, and welcome to today's tea time. Before I start today's tea time, I actually want to do a shout out to everyone who has been leaving comments, sharing my show with their friends and family, or even adding content like replying with links and replying with extra information. Thank you so much for creating this little community of light. I'm so proud of it, and I'm so proud that for once Lightwalkers are helping other Lightwalkers directly, which means we grow even faster. It's kind of an Aquarius thing, I guess, to think about community, but I am very grateful, so thank you, my friend. Now, that brings me to today's tea time topic, which is Aquarian secrets. And this topic actually came to me during my daily chanting and meditation. In fact, it really poured in, and sometimes it's hard for me to meditate and focus on my own spirituality because once I log in, all these great ideas from the universe just pour into me, and I almost need to bring, a pen with me when I meditate, but I'm trying to keep these things separated. Nonetheless, this topic came in, and I did go write it down. It's a secret I have learned to Aquarius energy, and today is definitely the best day to tell you this secret. Now, first of all, if you're not familiar, Aquarius energy is the consciousness in our reality that puts things in the right place. In fact, Aquarius is the law of attraction. That's a very popular buzz term among the Lightwalker community, law of attraction. It truly is the law of the land. And Aquarius pretty much describes how it works. Aquarius vibration is what puts everything in its place in the universe based on the law of attraction, which is based on what your heart is calling for. In fact, natal astrology will teach you this. If you know natal astrology, the 5th house is Leo, what you love, what your heart wants, who you fall in love with, your children, your great creations. Basically, the 5th house is I love or Leo, step 1. And directly across from that 5th house is the 11th house. And the 11th house is Aquarius or I belong. Now in natal astrology, one house on one side always leads to the house directly opposite. So basically what we love leads to where we belong, Aquarius. The universe tells us this. And you can look at this in another way too, maybe between the 2nd and the 8th house. Basically, the 8th house is where you draw your boundaries will lead to your values, the 2nd house of Taurus. But with Aquarius, literally it is based on, this whole matrix of where things belong, is based on what you are loving, what your heart is loving. and that determines where we belong. Now, people tend to think in terms of where you're going to end up with belonging. Like, I belong here, and I belong there, and I want to be on this ship or that cruise or in this job. So when we think about belonging, we're always thinking about where we're going to end up. But my little secret is the power of belonging is not focusing on where you end up. The power of belonging is focusing on where you come from. In other words, what is that fifth house, that house of Leo, really drawing in the 11th house? So in simple terms, if you want to control where it is you're going to end up or where it is you're going to land, the power is not focusing on the landing. The power is focusing on where you come from, focusing on the launch, how you started. The law of light casting, as I always say it is, what you be in the moment is what will come next. What you be is what will come. But there's also a law of reflection, and that is what you tend to be is what you come from. Most people tend to be what they come from in life. They come from the other side of the tracks. That's what they say they are. That's what they still be. They be coming from the other side of the tracks. Or they be coming from being the victim. Or they be coming from always being poor and always being in poverty. Or they be coming from fear. Or they're coming from people always cheating on them. Or coming from this story of always being alone. You get my drift, right? And even though people may say, oh, I'm healed, they're still coming from this perspective that basically is belittling them or keeping them from reaching where they want to belong. Now, if the law is what you be is what comes, and if you are still being a victim and still being scared, even though you feel like you've healed it, you're still identifying with coming from that place, then you're going to law of attract that place once again. So to change your power on earth, you don't change the aim of where you're trying to go. You change where you're coming from. Now, when I say change, I mean authentically your consciousness feels changed. Here's a way to test it. With the expression I am. So if you come from always being cheated on, can you say to yourself, I am a woman who is cheated on, as if it's now and current? And likely you'll say, no, I'm not a person who's cheated on anymore. I'm not that anymore. Okay, if you're not that anymore, if you've overcome that, then let's not come from that anymore. Let's not have that in our mind whatsoever, in our heart whatsoever, in our defenses whatsoever. To be over something is for it to be mute and not in your consciousness whatsoever. If it's still in your conscious that you were a victim but you overcame it, then you are basically still being a victim that has overcome it. So you might say, okay, Wateki, I get it. I am not a victim anymore. I am a champion. I get it. I am a champion. So now, Sensei says, you must come from that with everything you create. I am a champion and I would like this to happen. I'm a champion and I would like that to happen. And whether or not you are a champion determines on how you feel inside. If your heart doesn't resonate with that truth that you are indeed a champion, you might still have some work to do with the victim stuff, some healing and some letting go, so you can really come from I'm a champion and this. So the I am affirmation is very powerful when you basically add it to reverse something you have been, because now you are this, maybe you have been that, but you are this. And by law of attraction, by knowing where you're coming from, you know what you're going to attract, more and more of that good stuff. So if you want to modify where it is that you are going, change your inside vibration to be coming from something on the same dimension of where you're going and to be coming from a different conscious space than you ever have. That, my friend, is inner re-evolution and one of the private secrets to Aquarius success. Well, my friend, that concludes our Namaste for today. I am so grateful to be of soul service and so grateful that you keep coming back. Thanks again for telling everyone about me, and thanks again for walking these steps of light with me. It's a lonely journey, this higher conscious vibration, and we are a unique community here in the dawn of the age of Aquarius. Until tomorrow, remember I love you and live, love, be.